Good morning, everyone. Fiona here from Core Confidence. And really noticing the shift from September into October, last part of the year, a lot of change going on, a lot of disruption, working with clients who are experiencing some really challenging things and really curious and trying to unpack what that might mean, how they will meet those challenges, how they'll show up in a way that means they can hold themselves well no matter what's going on externally. And so, that's always part of our work at Core Confidence. We're always, we're always engaged in what could we do to have that 100% confidence within us no matter what's going on externally. Just got Kate joining us. Hi, Kate.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm really well. Good to see you.
I'm good. We seem to have success. We've been having lots of feedback. So it seems like we are good to go, yeah?
Third time lucky. Tech is working.
Who knows?
Exactly.
So October, first 90 days, October, last 90 days of the year, right? I think it's always crunch time. Businesses start to kind of freak out, I think, at this time of year. And so deadlines increase, pressure increases. I think a lot of people start to think about, what have I done with my year? And then look ahead to next year, so 2020. So I think it's a really interesting time of reflection, pressure, lots going on. I always say to clients in November, December, if you're thinking about quitting your job, just hang in there. Take a breath, take a break. Let's revisit it when we come back in January, because I do think it's a really tough time of the year.
Yes, I was talking about that. Some of the work I've been doing with clients in the last week has been meeting that pressure, that disruption, that kind of angst energy, and how do I hold myself in that, which is, a really good way to lead into our topic for October. So in October, our newsletter is going out tomorrow, and we're talking a lot about executive presence. What is executive presence, and what's its relationship to confidence, and how do these two pieces fit together? So we thought that would be a good way to start today, to start to unpack that a little bit and actually talk about how Kate and I came through a bit of a process to arrive at the name Core Confidence. And when we started doing this work, and we were getting more and more curious about this idea that confidence kept showing up, or rather the lack of confidence, or people feeling that in the moments they most needed it, their confidence was deserting them. And, if we thought about this, and we knew that the book actually really was about confidence, but a lot of people were giving us feedback that, people don't like to admit or talk about they've got a confidence issue. They don't necessarily want to come to a workshop about confidence. They'll come to one about executive presence. Executive presence sounds good. And we were a little bit tempted. We kind of said, maybe we should explore this a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's, executive presence is something, if I think about at a senior level, we talk about a lot. And it's the safe language. I've got friends who have been given feedback that they need to enhance their executive presence. So I think it's safe language. It's language that I think we can connect with a little bit easier. I think we know presence, like we know executive presence when we see it. And I think confidence is more unfamiliar. It's more ambiguous, which is exactly what we talk about in the book, right? Which is there really is no good definition. And confidence as a word, there's the knife edge of confidence can be arrogance. And so I think if we come back to the term executive presence, it's safer. And I think we're able to give that feedback and recognize that more in other people, particularly if we do look up to executives and go, oh, okay, well, who has it or who doesn't have it? I think we recognize the existence of it or the lack of existence of it. But I think it's safe language. It's often language in capability frameworks and things like that. So I think the tough one is, and in the end, we landed on confidence because actually by shying away from it, we're actually perpetuating the problem, which is by not actually going out and talking about confidence with its ambiguity and exploring that and actually encouraging women to show up and talk about it. I think if we don't do that, then how do you actually move forward on the issue? If we're constantly talking about executive presence, and it's certainly, if you think about someone who's in an organization, do you want to walk into your leader and say, I'm going to a workshop on executive presence, or do you want to go into a workshop or go to your leader and say, I'm going to go to a workshop on confidence? Certainly the executive presence one is the one that's more digestible in an organization.
Yes, yeah. I think this is such an interesting conversation about language and how it plays out for us, and the ways in which it can support what we're doing, but also the way in which it can sometimes mask and hide the real issue. So, we're big fans of people, enhancing their executive presence. We think it's, really important. Sometimes the work around executive presence can be more externally focused. We talk about this a lot in Core Confidence, the fact that there are external aspects, there are internal aspects. And for us, in the end, we didn't want to shy away from this word, because it felt absolutely that was the crux of the issue. And that was certainly when we were in workshops with people, when we were having conversations, when people were in coaching sessions, and they sort of get beyond the mask, what they'd talk about was the confidence piece. They never said, oh, gee, I'm really concerned about, in those stressful moments, I lack executive presence. They always talked about it's my confidence. So I think we really wanted to lean into that. And I think there's a piece, Kate, when we think about, we're big fangirls of Brené Brown and her work on vulnerability. There's something about this confidence and lack of confidence, or confidence running away from me, that is, we need to be a little bit vulnerable to get to the deeper layer of it. And then actually that's the pathway to reconnecting to the resource that is our core confidence.
Yeah, I think beautiful distinction there around, the internal orientation of this. I think, executive presence for us is very much around how do you show up, how do other people see you? And so I think there's some great work to be done there. And really what wraps around all of that is personal brand. And we can talk more about that over the course of the month. But absolutely, it's what's going on for me. Because if we think about, stories we'd hear in workshops, clients would say to us, everyone else would say I'm confident. So everyone else would say I've got executive presence, but inside I don't feel confident at all. So, the real work, the real game with confidence is the inner game. And I think that's really the big distinction. Yes, we can do lots of work to enhance our presence of how other people see us, but it's the inner game. It's the focus and presence. It's the authenticity. It's your relationship with fear. It's being vulnerable enough to ask for help. It's resilience in the face of failure. It's all of those things. And when we master that, that's when we can really show up. And I think your presence goes from here to here, because it's so grounded and it comes from such a strong place. So I think a beautiful place to leave this week. We'll be building on it over the course of the month. If you've got questions, we'd love them. Pop them in the post below. If there's any sort of other questions beyond, executive presence, again, we'd love to hear them. Pop them on the Facebook page. We'll be back next week, continuing the conversation around executive presence. And of course, if you haven't got a copy of the book or would like to have a look, there's a free chapter you can download on the website as well. So, Fee, have a great day. And
you too,
Kate. See you later today.
See you later today. Bye.